On this week's show, we'll be discussing Xbox committing the future to new hardware, PlayStation teasing the future of PlayStation 6, and Ubisoft has cancelled an Assassin's Creed game. All that and much, much more on this week's GamerGuild Podcast. Good game, everyone, and welcome back to the GamerGuild Podcast, your weekly show where we round up all the week's video game news and stories for your listening or viewing pleasure right here on youtube.com/GamerGuildTV and up there in the digital clouds and your podcast preference of choice. Podcast players for this week are myself and the Arcane Rogue at Mr. Chris. How are you doing?
I am good. The weekend is here. There's plenty of game news to talk about. The beers are flowing. So yeah, I'm ready to talk about some games.
The beers are actually frothing over right now. Try not to spill it all over my desk.
Steady now. We've all done that before. But you're getting a little bit too excited about recording a podcast?
Yeah, I frothed over a bit there. But it's fine. It's fine. It's Corona. It's bad for you. It's much better beers, but this is all we had in.
All we had in the house of which we stocked ourselves. So I made an active decision to
No, it's because all the nice beer I've already drank. My girlfriend drinks Corona. But we do have a great show lined up for you. But before we get into it, make sure if you haven't already, you like the video, subscribe to the channel, and hit that bell so you keep in the loop of all amazing content here at GamerGuildTV, such as the weekly podcast. Every single Monday, we bring you the news on all platforms, as mentioned. We do have a storefront. Are you wearing any merch, Chris, right now?
Yep, always. I've got my nice olive green t-shirt.
Yep, I've got my blue hoodie on, and it's actually very warm in here. It was a bad choice. For this particular podcast.
So between the Corona and your hoodie,
I'm not doing
to make a good choice. Yeah. We're going to make a good choice.
I might not make a good choice, but I know our listeners have by being here right now. Let's get into it, Chris. What have you been playing?
I, as forecasted last week, for this week and many weeks beyond, will no doubt be playing through Ghosts of Yotei still. I think I'm about maybe 17, 18 hours in. I've been working away in London this week, so I've not had any actual real game time. So I put in a couple of hours last night, and I defeated the second boss of the Yotei 6. Presumably, the game is going to just take me through all of them.
Yeah, so out of 6 of the Yotei 6, two of them are dead. So there's still 4 alive.
Two of them are gone.
Right, yeah, okay, so I know it. Yeah.
To my knowledge, and I didn't want to move on until the big penultimate boss moment until I'd kind of cleaned up the area that you're in. So pretty much the whole northwest of the map is now fully cleared, everything found, every chime, every bamboo tree that I think is there.
I did that as well. I did all of that before. I did like 90% of that before I even went to like the first story quest in the area.
Yeah, it seems befitting of the type of game, and I know we waxed lyrical a little bit last week about the convenience of seeing something like a smoke plume or a little dicky bird pops up and goes, oh, there might be a fox down this way if you want to follow me. Is there ever a time, I put it to you, is there ever a time a little bird shows up in your peripheral vision and you don't follow it?
Yeah, I also.
Or do you default?
Sometimes it's annoying because you'll be going to an objective that you've been wanting to get to and go, oh, there's a bird, I need to go that way.
Yeah, and you go, oh, damn it.
It's a wolf den, and you end up halfway across the map.
Yeah, the wolf den chases get quite intense, especially when they start sprinkling in like secret traps and things to jump over. But it does add for quite an emphatic moment. For those who've not played it, when you discover a wolf den, it basically takes on like a little side mission to take down some enemy bad guys who've been hunting wolves, because wolves are our friends in this one. The two kind of main protagonists of the story are known as the twin wolves, the two little baby wolves from the start of the game, and it's the kind of the theme throughout it. Yeah,
so Atsu, who you play as, has a twin brother who, during the opening acts of when the Yotei 6 attack her family, she loses touch with. Ethan assumes he's dead. She's not sure what's happening, so her brother and her are the twin wolves.
So they like wolves, even though I'm pretty sure you do have to suspend your disbelief a little bit in a lot of times. 'Cause I'm thinking this wolf would just rip you apart. They don't befriend humans, like especially different when they've just been attacked by several humans. They're not going to suddenly go, "Oh, I like this one though." They'd go for your throat just as much as the next.
The wolf doesn't like the Yote 6 and like they're falling for what they're doing, but for some reason seems to happily team up with you, like as if a wolf would be able to distinguish that well.
Yeah, it's a team up.
I suppose you do kind of bond with the wolf as you go.
Yeah, and I get what they get. And again, suspending disbelief. Usually it's not Snow White where loads of birds show you to magical locations and a fox shows up and dances around and lets you pet it. It's like these are wild animals, folks. They would attack, give you rabies and everything in between.
I like the way the game does it, though. It's like, it's kind of slightly guided exploration where it's not just, here's a map with tons of points on to just go from A to B.
Yeah.
And it's not just... One of the problems I've always had with Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild was it just dumped you in the world and went, go have a look. And it was a bit too open, I felt, at times. With Ghost of Yote, feels like there's always something, wherever you are, to capture your attention, whether it is a wolf den or a fox den or a little bird taking you to something, or you can see something cool on the horizon and go, I wonder what that is. There always seems to be, no matter where you are, something, because it's not actually a true open world. It's set in, like almost like split into zones.
Yeah, it's quite segmented. And the first game did a good job at that, but it's right. It's open world without making it feel overwhelming. Yeah, I think is the probably best way to describe it. And yeah, there's a lot of visual prompts, there's a lot of auditory and prompts from the wind. But I'm enjoying the exploration.
I actually really like the way they've done it because it's striking a nice balance by having the game open, but not just too open. So then it's the Assassin's Creed problem where the map is too big. So then they have to fill it with stuff and then they just don't have enough interesting content to fill it. So they fill it with non-interesting content.
Yeah. AI content usually. The classic Ubisoft problem. Yeah. But yeah, I'm enjoying it so far. I intend to put a few hours in over this weekend if I can find the time. And I've heard a few people and seen a few people on social media kind of comparing it to Ghost of Tsushima and
I think
get into it. And I can see those comparisons. I think more hours in from last week, I can just say, if you enjoyed Tsushima, you will enjoy Yote. Is probably the best endorsement of it. And whatever you got out of Tsushima, you will probably find somewhere in here as well.
Yeah, I'm a little bit further ahead in the story than you are, and my girlfriend's even further ahead than me. And it feels like one thing where I was at, because I have still only actually done 2 of the 6, so I haven't took down another one. I was feeling like Atsu as a character hasn't developed at all yet, but apparently as you go further, she starts developing more. And there's like one of them was like, oh yeah, it might be like, I think my game clock's running at 35 hours. So for me, I'm probably about 25 to 30 in there. It's like, I'm 30 hours in and my main character hasn't really changed. But then I have to remind myself that actually you spend 30 hours just doing side content.
Yeah. I will say one of the things that, and I get it's just a video game. The one thing that still stands out for me taking down these people and killing enemies en masse is that we do get the preface that Atsu went down south as she was growing up, her formative years, and fought in like wars and battles and what she could do. And that's where she's kind of learnt a trade. Yeah, it is a bit far-fetched that she can come back and is such a master swordsman, whereas on the flip side of Tsushima, the kind of growing your skill tree and leveling up, it was in line with you were already on the path to being a samurai and you were from an honourable house and stuff. And
it's a suspend your disbelief moment, but she was training with the sword from a young age.
She was, and I don't want to take away from that, but I feel like because their story is just around
countless wars between when she left like Yote and Ezo, the area you're in, and when she's just returned at the start of the story.
Yeah, she's like early to mid-20s, right?
Yeah, she's probably been away for probably a good 10 years fighting battles and being a Ronin.
I get, like, again, who's to really know, but there is times when I'm like wiping out massive brutes with the big massive sticks and people wielding fire and basically surrounded by like 6 to 7 enemies. And I get it's like a power trip, and that's one of the things I love about the game is you feel like an absolute boss. But then there's parts where I'm like, she'd get absolutely flawed. And again, anyone I guess who's not a a trained master samurai.
Yeah, one of the opening quests is about getting the dual wield swords. I felt there's a point in there where it feels like months. It doesn't really tell you how long she's there training, but it could be days, it could be months. It's left quite ambiguous in that sense.
Yeah.
So in my mind, she didn't just rock up and then train for a couple of days, and now she's mastered the wielding two swords. In my mind, it's probably months of training to get there, and you just tune in every couple, maybe once every month or something, to where she's at that point. But that's just purely headcanon.
Yeah, I mean, we get a couple of flashback bits, so I'm interested to see where it's been. I'm enjoying it thoroughly, and
I need to play more of the story. I keep getting distracted. I'm enjoying the side content too much that I'm not playing the story. But one of my lasting memories of Ghost of Tsushima was Jin's struggling with his morality between being an honourable samurai and descending into the path of darkness and becoming the ghost to help out the people of Tsushima. I haven't got to that kind of point with Atsu yet, where other than her desire to kill the Yote 6, what is driving her? What's going to be her moral dilemma? Other than the physical challenge of beating these 6 people, what's going to be her character development?
Yeah, I think I'd agree. That's why the premise and the setup was great, that it just got you straight into it. It's like, this is the shit that's happened. She's here now. She wants revenge, essentially. Whereas the premise of Tsushima was definitely a lot more structured in terms of traditional storytelling of, this is the problem, these are the twists and stuff he's going to deal with. This is the more the back and forth between his father was a great dynamic, and learning his trade, and that pull and push between doing things that aren't justified under the samurai code, but he needs to do them to protect his people during a time of war. It's very
does he preserve his honour and lose, or does he choose to lose his honour and potentially win?
Yeah, whereas there's none of that with Atsu. It's like, they killed your family and you want revenge.
Again, I've only beat two of the Yote 6, same as you, and you literally, you can do that within 10 hours, the first 2. So it's I am really looking forward to seeing where her character goes.
Because there's going to be another twist or two, surely, at some point.
There's going to be. I'm waiting for it's that moral dilemma that comes to the heart of the character. Because at the moment, she's just on a path of revenge. And if that's just it, I feel like the story might end up a bit flat. She needs to somehow struggle with what she's having to do to get it.
Well, yeah. Well, usually with a good revenge story, there's a bit of potential collateral damage, isn't it? And I think if people she maybe becomes fond of, or maybe builds relationships with along the way, start to suffer because of her revenge path, that could be an interesting unraveling of at what point is revenge too much? You sacrifice, a bit like the Last of Us Ellie story, where it's how much do you go for revenge before you've got nothing left? You are literally built on revenge, and there's no time in your life to enjoy anything otherwise. It's
a classic revenge storyline. I almost kind of, while it is kind of by the numbers, want to see how it would play out for Atsu, where it's she's on the path of revenge, but that falls her into darkness and basically leads her down the path of failure. Then she ends up reassessing her goals and decides, although her goals were honourable, the reason she was doing it was wrong, so now she needs to do it for the sake of others, not for herself. That's where I feel like it will get to, but I've not really seen a hint of that yet. Again, not that far in the story-wise, but I have cleaned up a few areas.
Yeah, I think that's what I'll do. I think if you've got it's one of those good games where if you press for time, don't worry, just jump in and do a bit of cleanup. Yeah. And there's no commitment to anything. And then if you know you've got maybe 2 to 3 hours during the night time or a weekend, you can commit to pushing ahead with some chapters, essentially. Well, so it's quite good in that sense. That's
what I've been doing this evening, because we're recording this on a Friday. I've just been doing some side content, just explore. I've just got into basically the 4th kind of area of the map. You're probably in the 2nd one. And I was
just
about
to enter it,
I'm just going to go around and just do some of the cleanup in this area and not really progress the story in here yet. Because I know at 8 o'clock we're recording. I didn't get in by the time I got in from work, had my tea and stuff. You're looking about probably realistically about 6 o'clock, so I've only got really about an hour and a half to play.
Yeah. I like doing a bit of cleanup on the old PlayStation Portal as well. It's good for that. Where
I'm Margie playing on the Portal. It's been an interesting experience because Nat's playing on the PlayStation on her telly, and I'm sat on the Portal with my headphones in. I put my headphones in just more actually, so I don't hear spoilers from her game.
Don't blame you. Don't blame you. But that's our Ghosts of Yotei section for the show every week.
Yep.
Done and dusted.
Stay tuned next week for more Ghosts of Yotei content. But until then, Chris, would you like to introduce us to
the graciously gathered Gamer Guild Gazette, aka the news?
The news. And as always, the news is brought to you by our wonderful Guild Heroes, which you can join for as little as 99p over on the YouTube channel. Thank you very much for your support, guys. Keeps the lights on, keeps us going.
Yeah, and I guess a special shout out as well, Al Davis Music and the folks who donated super chats during last week's live stream. We celebrated our 6-year anniversary and we got some very, very generous super chats. So thank you very much. It doesn't go unnoticed. I know sometimes I think in the moment, you and me, typical British people, we struggle sometimes with showing thanks and appreciation when something drops in the middle of a conversation or we're playing a game and then all of a sudden someone's been so nice and generous. Yeah, because you kind of see it in the moment and one of us has to react to it, whether we're chatting or we notice it in the chat. Yeah. And to pivot from playing a game or talking about a topic of discussion like Ubisoft to cancelling then to suddenly pivot and go, oh shit, someone's been like so nice to us beyond all recognition. To acknowledge that and then appreciate it, I think it sometimes was across, as I said, as genuine. So
when someone drops us really a £1 super chat and we look at it and go, oh, that's nice. We actually mean it.
Yeah, and I feel really hard to that's nice. It's anything. You don't have to give us anything, especially those freeloaders who listen on podcast services.
Yeah.
But there is that part where I know we're not American. I'm very well aware of that. In being British, I think sometimes we don't have that hype and jazz of like, oh my God, guys, thanks. That $20 super chat, it's amazing. Oh my God. It's sort of like, we don't do that. We acknowledge it. We thank you for it and we move on.
We're bad content creators in that sense. We are,
yeah. Well, to be fair, we make long form content, which isn't YouTube's favourite thing anyway. We don't do 20-second TikTok dances and stuff.
We don't put on an ADHD act when we watch it. It's just us.
Yeah. Oh, it's just us talking.
You know what the dirty freeloaders can do? Just rate the show well. And maybe head over to Discord.
Is it star ratings?
I think it depends what platform you're on. But it probably is a star rating or thumbs up or whatever platform you listen to on. Give us a like. It helps with the algorithm. Maybe head over to Discord and thank all the people who've donated super chats for helping us out over the years.
Yeah. You're all awesome, and we just wanted to remind you of that. So thank you.
Yeah.
The news.
Ubisoft have cancelled an Assassin's Creed game. Chris?
James?
I don't know where that came from. Ubisoft have cancelled an Assassin's Creed game, Chris. Set in the American Civil War. This was a bit of an unexpected story that I've read on Polygon. I'm not sure what the original source is. It could be Polygon, but basically Ubisoft were toying with the idea of setting an Assassin's Creed game during the American Civil War, potentially as their next mainline entry, but have decided to cancel this due to political reasons and backlash against the one of the protagonists from Assassin's Creed Shadows.
Yeah, it's we know what Ubisoft are going through at the moment. They have the good with the bad, and we get some random news this week, which we'll get into about Assassin's Creed Mirage getting some new content 2 years after the fact. We know Shadows sold well, but the way it's kind of in the political landscape of things, it got loads of backlash for having a black protagonist.
I was going to say, let's just call it out. A lot of people upset that one of the two protagonists was a black dude and the other was an Asian woman.
Yeah, heaven forbid. And you know what? I'm seeing it with Ghosts of Yotei at the moment as well.
I've seen loads of posts, like especially things like PC gamer mods and stuff, just giving it big tits and going, "It's a better game." It's like I've seen people in comments going like, "Oh, I can't play this game because she's not pretty enough." It's like,
yeah. These are the same people who thought PlayStation 1 Polygon Lara Croft was fit as anything.
Yeah. It's like
she was made of a couple of pixels.
Not every game needs to get you erect while you play it.
It does, and if you've got problems like that, there's great websites called Pornhub that you can go have a look at and enjoy to your heart's content.
But you have a realistic view on the world and maybe go get over your issues and talk to a woman.
Yeah, and there's I've seen loads of like politicals, and we never get into it on the show because
Yeah.
we're here to talk about games. But the mocap voice actress who voices Atsu in the game, apparently she's married to a woman, so she's an active lesbian, and she's also part of Antifa, which I believe is anti-fascist. Is that group, if I'm not mistaken?
I thought that was a fake group made up by Donald Trump. Genuinely.
Possibly.
Yeah.
I have no idea anymore. But realistically, so people don't like her because she's against fascism and she's a lesbian. But again, I saw a couple of people commenting saying, yeah, Atsu was this and that, and then I saw, thankfully, people defending it saying, no, you idiot, Atsu's a fictional character. A fictional character cannot be against American values and this and that. But yeah, without getting too political, the crux of this story is that, Ubisoft supposedly cancelled the game. It'll be after the previous game. So we've had Assassin's Creed 3, which takes part during the kind of American Revolution and stuff going on there.
Yeah, during the American War of Independence. This would be the Civil War era, so...
Yeah, so after the fact, when they're rebuilding and they're trying to form the states and the politics in between, and when...
To be fair, the American Civil War, it's built on racism. Anti-racism on one side, the desire to keep slaves on another. There's more to it. I'm not a Civil War historian, but that is a huge thing. And it seemed like the main character was meant to be a former black slave, or a black slave, and the... stand-in for the Templars were meant to be the KKK. And somehow this is Ubisoft bottled a black slave assassinating the KKK. Yeah, I'm not sure why you would bottle something like that.
I think reading too much into it, the original report, by the way, is from GameFile Stephen Totillo.
All right, yeah.
But yeah, it could be being caught up in the world of Ubisoft, like they kind of can't do right for doing wrong now, and I think trying to tell a story that's potentially charged with racism and slavery in the current climate, I can completely see as a business where they go, maybe let's focus on something a bit more fantastical. Let's get back to pirates. Let's get back to ancient mythology and stuff that's detached from modern day.
This is the time to tell that sort of story and it is back in time. It is a fictional world,
but I think it goes back to the United States being so young. Is the history, even though it's modern history in the grander scheme of things, and talking about Egyptians and pharaohs and Norse gods is a far cry from people who are on the dollar note still, presidents and patriots and such. And I'm surprised as Brits we get quite an easy go with the US, considering they should probably hate us more than they do. But that's times have changed, right? I mean, they are all us.
Theoretically, they're one. So,
but I mean, at the same time, most of them are from our family and connections and roots come from us anyway. So it's that maybe they still have some kind of like long lost longing for the UK.
They wanted liberation from the British Crown, and they got it. So,
yeah. And so do we some days of the week. But yeah, according to multiple sources, they were uncomfortable with the backlash around it, the political climate, and I kind of hadn't, until this kind of story had came out, it kind of didn't, it dawned on me that we will inevitably get another Assassin's Creed game. It's the biggest seller by far. It's Ubisoft's kind of shining beacon of hope for actually making them any money. It hadn't crossed my mind of where they went next. Shadows kind of came and went for me, and I enjoyed it, and I got the Platinum Trophy for it, but it's mad to think maybe in another 2 years we'll get another one, a big one. And I hadn't even considered for a second where would they go next.
We don't actually know how far along this as an idea. This could have literally just been an elevator pitch that was shut down.
Yeah,
and where got out.
Well, we've still got Hex.
Yeah,
which I still refuse to call Hexy just because it's got an E on it. Which we think is going to be like a horror, more spooky based Assassin's Creed, which I'm all for. I
feel like it's more of a spin-off though.
Yeah, I think that'll be kind of take Mirage's slot in that kind of cycle of big game. Did we ever hear anything about Jade, the mobile game? Did that ever actually launch? I feel like I signed up to the beta on the Android store and then don't ever remember actually getting the notification to play it. So no doubt riddled with microtransactions and such as mobile games are.
It was originally Assassin's Creed Jade was originally slated for late 2023. It will release in 2025 on Android and iOS. I don't know if it's out.
I haven't seen anything of it, if so. Well, I feel like we would have covered it on the show, like because
Yeah.
it was they made quite a big deal about it. It was in that trifecta of Shadows, Hex, Jade, and it's like they had something for everyone. But to bring it back around to this one, yeah, I don't know where they go, but I think you're right. Is they probably do with the Assassin's Creed franchise. They like to jump around with locations. They like to revisit. We've had the Ezio game remastered. We've had ports of the older games. I personally, if I was to play it safe with Ubisoft, I think we know we've got Black Flag remastered in the works. I think for the next big entry, take the model that served them quite well with Origins, Odyssey and Shadows, and I think it's about time we return to Renaissance Italy. Whether that's a retelling of Ezio's story, just in a modern format, with like a more open world slant on it.
Yeah, if I was being safe, I feel like maybe not necessarily Italy, but maybe you could go to Spain or somewhere Mediterranean. Or
by the time this comes out, it'll be like nearly 18, 20 years since we had the Assassin's Creed 2.
Yeah, I'm just thinking there's just so much more of the world you could explore, and they've done Italy in 3 games already.
Yeah, true.
Or you could go, well, you kind of did go back to the Middle East with, what do you call it, with Mirage. I feel like I'd like to see a true sequel to Assassin's Creed Origins, to show the Assassin's Order becoming what you find it in as Assassin's Creed 1.
Yeah, well, that game leans into the end of it. It's to do with like Cleopatra and Julius Caesar.
Yeah.
And then and then it ends just as it feels like it could genuinely get started.
And then
the story ends.
Then Odyssey was set before it.
Yeah.
And Valhalla didn't really develop anything to do with the growing Assassin's Order. By the time you get Valhalla, it's already a thing that's spread around the world. Yeah. So there is this gap between Origins and Assassin's Creed 1 that I think there could be an interesting story to be told. That's
There's
if
also
I'm playing safe.
A reboot of 1,
but
somewhere in the mix.
Yeah, that would be where I'd lead up to. So you do that bridge game, then you go into Assassin's Creed 1.
Yeah.
And then you maybe set up to do a remix of the Ezio games. But
yeah, back to it.
If I'm being a bit me about it, my reaction to a lot of people on the internet complaining about a Black Samurai, which is actually a very well tread area in Japanese storytelling. Yeah. I would set it in the heart of Africa. Ooh. Around the slave trade, but instead of being a slave on a plantation, you're in a bloody village in Africa, and you're fighting off the British invaders. Just go lean hard into it.
Full Zulu with Michael Caine. That's,
just lean really hard into that.
There's so much with like colonialism and such you could get into anywhere throughout history, and again that's the kind of vibe we always got, right? Is the Templars were with those things, and that's where back to this story talking about like the KKK and stuff is the Templars in all of these Assassin's Creed games are the bad guys. So would it be that hard to picture them forming a union and saying like let's create a separate spin-off of the Templars, aka the KKK? Yeah. That basically govern and spread hatred and stuff throughout a society, where other parts of the government, such as in Assassin's Creed 3, where you've got George Washington and stuff, are trying to lay down some law and governance across all of these states. So it would have created, I think, quite a good story. I just think it's mad to think we're at a time when you can't tell those stories because they're so reflective of current day politics. Oh, you can. You can. But you look at your bottom line and go, we're shareholders and money influenced massively by the biggest gamer market, which is still the US. Is it worth the risk? We talked a few weeks ago about the benefit of Ubisoft ending up being in private hands. That's where you're safer at telling stories, because a venture capitalist investment banker kind of guy wants you to stay away from politically charged storytelling because it might affect the game sales. Where if you have complete control of it, you can go, you know what? We're just going to be brave here and tell the story that we want to tell. Because you can see the story there. The KKK are a bunch of Templars who formed an organisation to assist in preventing the South losing the war against the North, maintaining slavery because it's so profitable. And the Templars' whole thing is about control. It's about them trying to maintain control.
you can see how it all could kind of fall together, and you bring in historical people, which Assassin's Creed always has, like Abraham Lincoln.
Yeah. I can see both sides, and I think it is just that thing where like in America right now, where they're trying to shut down funding for things like the Smithsonian and taking stuff to do with Black History Month down across places, and
don't like
it's all that wild. I think clearly, are Ubisoft going to be brave though in the world they're in now with their falling stocks and their diminishing sales?
This is the time
seemingly
to be
lack
brave,
of creativity.
When you're on top, it's not being brave. It's when you're struggling. This is the time when Ubisoft can be brave, and I think they earn a lot of praise for going. No, we're going to stick to our guns. We're going to tell the story we want to tell. It's going to be an anti-racism story through, because racism is just bad.
Yeah,
and we're not going to bow to racist components in the internet. We're just not going to do it.
Yeah.
So what they've done now is they've I feel like they've angered a lot of people. So I feel like whatever the next Ubisoft game is going to be, Assassin's Creed game, a lot of like the very left-leaning gaming press are going to come down a ton of bricks on this for the wrong reasons. Then I don't think they're going to assess the game under its merits because of the story to do. But that's part of the world they're existing, so...
Yeah, they should go play... I think Assassin's Creed 3 was criminally underrated, actually, as well. I really enjoyed it. The story it's told about a Native American struggling in a world being taken over by the British and subsequently Americans and such as well, for them, and how they adapted and evolved, and still had a great story about Templar Order and assassins, and
I would just generally just like them to go and bridge the story between Origins and Assassin's Creed 1, because that felt like what they were trying to do.
Well, in the meantime, they can go and play Assassin's Creed Mirage.
Yes, so this is news that Assassin's Creed Mirage is getting its free DLC, Valley of Memories, and it's out today. It's out the 6th of October, so it's been out for a few days by now. We talked about this a few weeks ago. It's still surprising that they've brought out DLC for an Assassin's Creed Mirage when Shadows has since come out. Yeah,
well, after last week's show as well, when we spoke about the EA buyout, the DLC is going to have new story chapter, new missions, a variety of new gameplay improvements and patch fixes and stuff, because the game's been out for 2 years now. This is in development thanks to a deal between Ubisoft and the Saudi Arabian Public Investment Fund. So the same folks who are buying EA and have shares in Tencent, who have shares in blah, blah, blah. They've apparently backed it. Ubisoft declined to comment whether it was directly to do with that, but in a world where Skull and Bones came to fruition thanks to the Singapore government donating funds, I'm not surprised that Mirage, set in that kind of part of the world, receives funds from this group that sports washing, whitewashing, whatever you want to call it, and is now part of this kind of Ubisoft world. They own stakes in it as well. They're looking at EA, and we chatted at length. Go watch last week's show if you want to know our thoughts on that one. We've got new levels to a game that seemingly was dead in the water. I didn't hear anyone between Shadows, Origins, and Odyssey. I don't hear really anyone going back to Mirage and having a great time with that one. But Valley of Memory, it's out now. I own it, so it's free. I might go check it out if I have a window of time. Go back to Basim and see what his character's up to.
I wonder if this is Ubisoft testing the waters for like future DLC models rather than having paid DLC. If they can get investors to fund the DLC in entirety, then they get value from people still playing the games, and the money comes from elsewhere. It might be this, and I think maybe doing this with Mirage preserves Shadows. So they're not testing out something potentially controversial on their current game, they're testing out on the previous one, which wasn't received as well. And let's be fair, because Shadows is out, less people care about it.
Yeah, it seems like such an odd move, but
yeah, it might just be this deal was just long in the tooth to get over the line. By the time the deal was finally signed, Shadows was already out.
Yeah, it's an odd one.
It is out. It's an odd one, but it's if you have the game, it's free to play. So fill your boots. You know what we might be filling our boots with in a few years, Chris? the PS6 because AMD have been discussing the future of games. And feels like it might not be that long away, actually, PS6, a few years.
Yeah, I mean, we've had the Pro, which is your typical kind of like mid-generation update, right? The Pro's
the PlayStation 5 midlife crisis.
Yeah, I mean, when you look at the cadence of the PS4, as it was out for 4 odd years, we got the PS4 Pro, and then that sought to another 8 years, and then we got the PS5, and now we are 5 years into the PlayStation 5. The Pro is out, so on that trajectory, PlayStation 5 has got 3 to 4 years left in it, maybe, which it's wild to me, because I don't for a second look at my PS5 and think games look crap, they're running slow. The cadence in which, if anything, I'd rather the developers had more time with one generation just to get their head around it still.
Yeah, I don't feel like the PS5 generation is going to be remembered anywhere near as fondly as the PS4 generation.
No.
I just don't feel... it hasn't lived up to their promise. The big promise for this generation was 4K 60 and very, very few games running 4K at 60 frames per second. Yeah. So the games look better and tend to play a bit better than they did in the PS4, but the jump between PS4 and PS5 isn't huge in terms of what you actually see. You look at Ghost of Tsushima versus Ghost of Yotei. Ghost of Yotei is way prettier, but it's not like it's not like if you go back to an older game and go, oh, this is barely playable. You could, if I had to tell someone who hasn't played games for 10 years what to buy now, I'd tell them to probably go for PS4 still over PS5, because I think the library is so much better.
I've still said PS5 just because then they can still play PS4 and they're future-proofed for whatever's coming out.
You're right. You get my point. It's like...
Yeah. It's one of them. I saw someone on social media post this week actually about the PS3's 360 generation was the best. We'll have to sit down and do like a ranking episode at some point. Actually, when we did our ranking of console looks, remember we kind of reserved our judgment on this one because it hadn't fulfilled its life cycle yet. But then I think when it comes to the games, I saw a post that said the PS3 360 was so good they basically propped up this generation with remakes and remasters.
Yeah.
It's like, will we have this again with this generation? Probably not, because visually you get a lot of them hold up. But I think when you sit down and thought, well, actually, yeah, we've had Gears remake, we've had The Last of Us remakes, we've had just so many games that came out and have had polished and touch-ups.
I actually think I was thinking about this throughout the week, and I think one of my criticisms of the PS5 generation is it feels like quite slow between big releases that are really worrying me.
Yeah, that's probably it, yeah.
But if you think objectively, there's a lot of games that have come out where I've kind of went, that looks cool, but it's not for me. I feel like the current trends in games is separate to where I'm currently at in the games I want to play. I feel like my preference for games is similar to what Sony's working really hard on the PS4 generation, where the third-party stuff... Sony themselves have been quite slow this generation, but the third-party stuff tends to have went more towards things like roguelites or into Soulsborne kind of stuff. There's a very heavy trend toward that. Horror games as well is another genre that's kind of re-emerged this thing. And there's 3 big genres where there's lots of games coming out that I'm not that interested in. So it's like, well, I feel like the generation's been slow, but if you're a big Dark Souls fan and you're a big horror game fan and you're a big roguelike fan, you're eating well.
Yeah. Oh, it's huge. Yeah. It's huge. To bring it back around to the article, it was a post on the official PlayStation blog. It was Mr. Mark Cerny, of course, who's, we all know, bona fide genius whenever he talks about PlayStation and just technology and dev development in general. There's a good reason, and there's you can tell when you hear him talk. He's a bit like Brian Cox talking about like space stuff. Or DeGrasse Tyson, where you're just like, you clearly know so much about what you're talking about. I can't even fathom where to start with that. But yeah, Mark Cerny, he was the lead architect on the PlayStation 5. He is on the PlayStation 6, no doubt. And yeah, they put out a random 12-minute video of him and AMD's kind of head honcho, Jack Yun, talking about just updates in their relationship with MDB. And they go into their research. which inevitably this is all linked to the PS6, right? They wouldn't be talking about this for anything else. The PS5 Pro is out there. And they go on to say, like, yeah, overall, it's on course. It's early days with this technology, but the existing simulation modes and theoretics right now, but the results are quite promising. They're really excited to bring them into the future consoles in a few years' time. The technology is focused on machine learning that will improve graphics and gameplay in the future. For now, at least, the PS5 Pro is benefiting from the research through PSSR visual upgrades. That's been described as a full-fat version of the current technology that PCs use. So we know that'll come into fruition at some point over the next couple of years anyway. But then, yeah, he basically goes on. They called it Project Amethyst, which I think I always struggle to say out
Amethyst.
loud. And yeah, they kind of go on. They show a couple of visuals of like how it works and stuff, and they go, yeah, I've been working on some really cool stuff in terms of like power distribution and processing distribution, and how they can get the cell processors to team up and focus using AI rather than them all work independently. So it's like having one mega GPU instead of loads of little ones trying to process things at different times. But it just seemed like a proper out of nowhere video, which I guess to me it almost felt like, when Microsoft is struggling, we'll get onto it in a bit, talk about Microsoft hardware, for the arguably the biggest player in number one slot right now to come out and just like go, we don't have anything official, but we're talking about making it better, hardware. Like this is Sony basically reaffirming there will be a PlayStation 6 without directly saying it.
Yeah.
And like, while Microsoft is struggling over there with, are they committed to it or not? For your competitor to just come out and go, oh, well, we're talking about future tech and hardware, like literally with our partner from AMDB.
You can almost see the board meeting where they're talking about and go, Xbox coming under a lot of pressure right now. People are questioning whether there even will be the next Xbox. What can we just get out there to kind of stop that kind of flack potentially coming to us and maybe dunk on them a bit without directly dunking on them? That's just... What can we do?
And a lot of stuff they took from this, not only that, was they were talking about the kind of the power on the GPU, and they're able to adjust for more efficient pipelines when it comes to next generation and ray tracing and all the stuff we've come to know and appreciate with modern gaming. What, for me, it kind of focused in is the way they're able to fluctuate and increase or decrease performance based on requirements. I think this is kind of setting up for the rumoured handheld PlayStation 6 as well. Yeah. Where if they can scale up and down quite a lot, from like the least common denominator up to the highest performing one on like PC levels, I think this gives them a lot of wiggle room for utilising these tools to give us a PS6 and give us a PS6 handheld alternative, like maybe it's a docking one or whatever that may be. Because we've said from time and time again, I think the graphic fidelity, the diminishing returns are so high now. What's next? And I think Xbox are leaning towards handheld, like alternatives, docking solutions. The ROG Ally's out, Steam Deck's out now.
What's next is seriously hitting 4K 60. That was the promise of PS5. I don't think it's been fully realised. Some games do it, but most games you have a choice. But I think the next generation needs to be running every single game at 60 frames per second, unless it's done otherwise for an artistic choice. At 4K resolution, because most people's tellies are 4K now, with things like ray tracing turned on, that should be the promise of the next generation. And if they're not going to hit it with the current technology, delay it. Yeah. Because that was the promise for this generation. That was kind of the promise of the PS4. The PS4 didn't quite get there. PS5 hasn't got there. PS5 Pro hasn't got there. Yeah. We don't need another generation, but it's sales that will drive this. How good the PS6 is will be driven by PS5 sales. Yeah. Because they'll keep making it better and better and better keeping it on a certain price point until they get to this critical threshold where the PS5 is no longer bringing in enough money that they need the next console generation for sales reasons.
You need that marketing boost, don't you? It's the same with the mobile phone industry. Is that you don't need a new iPhone every year. You don't need a new Samsung Galaxy every year. But they do it, or they do several versions of it to keep that cultural relevance like churning over. It was called. Sorry, the thing I was referring to was a universal compression, and they go into it in the short video by basically saying the system evaluates every piece of data heading to the memory not just textures, but then it compresses them whenever possible. So at every opportunity, essential bytes are basically trimmed down, drastically reduced, which reduces bandwidth, power on the GPU, which means it can deliver like more detail, essentially, higher frame rates, better efficiency, which everything like that is telling me that they can take what's common today and funnel it down to basically use less energy, less power, less GPU, which is what you want in a handheld, right?
I think they should also work on a suite of development tools as well, to because the pipeline for making AAA games is very long at the moment, which makes it very expensive, which makes it such a high risk. But if you can improve the tools that developers have to work with for developing PS6 games to shorten, say, a 5-year lifespan to a 4-year lifespan, that's a 20% saving on your just operation costs to get that game out.
Yeah.
If you can do that without compromising the quality of the product, then developers have a choice. Do we keep to our 5-year timeline and make a better game, or do we hit a 4-year timeline and get the game out sooner to mitigate risk? Yeah. So I feel like, and they'd also increase the output of AAA games on the system.
Yeah.
Although I'm not a developer, so I could be just completely talking out my ass here. Let me know in the comments. But it feels like if that can be optimized, and without just slapping AI over everything, it still needs to be an art form. It's like how do you use AI as a tool to aid in the development, not to replace the development.
Yeah.
Because as a general rule of thumb, procedurally generated AI content sucks. You want people actually designing this stuff because they have a better idea than what any AI can have. But how do you use it? Give that person AI tools to make their life so much easier.
Yeah. Well, it seems like, and we know Mark Cerny recently said, I think it was in a Verge article, said about he's got a multi-year plan for PlayStation 6, and I just think it's wild to think we're at that point where a couple of years from now we'll probably be sitting here talking about the reveal of the PS6, what it looks like, if they've went back to a more simplistic and less colour contrast mode. Will our dual sensors work? And I'm guessing games will be forward compatible, but it seems forever ago, but we're not far off. And remember, we've been doing this 6 years now without realising it, so blink of an eye and we'll be there celebrating 10 in the launch of a new generation.
Mark said he's been working on the PS6 since before the PS5 came out. Once the R&D phase of the PS5 was done, he's probably started working on the PS6.
Yeah, wild. Yeah. And he still dabbles in games, remember, as well.
He does.
Remember Knack?
Yeah.
Knack 3. We need a Knack 3 for the launch of the PS6.
Talking about dabbling in games, the future of Xbox hardware.
Dabbling.
Yeah, it's a bit harsh, but you give me a segue how to use it. So Xbox is denying rumours that there won't be a next-gen console.
Yeah.
Is anyone surprised by that?
No. This came from, there was a well-known source leaker on Reset A-Reg. It wrote in saying, there seems to be hardware issues around Team Xbox, and to read from the Pure Xbox article, it says, without going into too much detail, not long after the last round of layoffs, next one should be coming in Q1 26, by the way, so turn of the year there's going to be more layoffs, and it's going to be just as massive as the last one. So some rumblings out of Xbox are starting to come where it's a little hard to believe. The ramifications of the Call of Duty Game Pass gambit, which we spoke about on last week's show, are not working, were rumoured to have cost them box per unit sales around $300 million worth. And then that's no surprise that the Game Pass news we covered last week is focusing on Call of Duty may not be included in some of the tiers, and you may not guarantee to get them even a year after release. So the Call of Duty card's definitely somewhere up in the air. But then it goes on to say that, concrete plans for actual Microsoft Xbox hardware went from being definitive to up in the air, which was really starting to give startling, given that things were meant to be out relatively soon. Because, again, we spoke about the rumours. We had those leaks, didn't we, last year? That showed us like a full slate of Xbox Series X and S reshapes. And remember the cylindrical one? The one that looked like a tube?
Yeah.
They seemingly haven't come to fruition. We know there's a handheld, so it's one of those situations where, despite them internally being told, we want to go with a new generation in 2026 or maybe 2027, the steps leading up to that delivery, like marketing behind this, like, you've got to imagine like hundreds and hundreds of people are involved in these, so it's no surprise when stuff gets leaked or sneaks out. But yeah, lots of things are apparently getting pushed back and moved around. And I guess if you're an employee there and things maybe don't feel like they're going as smoothly, they have an inkling. So they've said like, yeah, definitive things being to push back to being up in the air to maybe not having such concrete timelines or dates on. Was going round. Windows Central reached out to the sources with a few other people. Naturally, they've got probably a lot of internal leakers who give them little tidbits of information now. A lot of these journos are like best mates with developers and software engineers and stuff. So off the table, they probably do give them a little nod here and there and a little shred of information. Yeah, the rumours were they're ready to exit the hardware industry and move entirely into cloud gaming because everything's an Xbox, Richie. And they can confirm by a very trusted source that it isn't true, at least for now. But then, since then, Microsoft have clarified it with a statement saying, over the weekend, you may have heard a rumour doing the rounds that Xbox hardware plans were up in the air, and for the future of Xboxes in publishing. Microsoft has responded in recent hours. Why can't I find it? Oh, there you go. We are actively investing in our future first-party consoles and devices designed, engineered, and built for Xbox. For more details, the community can revisit our agreement announcement with AMD. So just a flippant little comment to address it, but clearly they're trying to put the water on the fire before it gets out of control after last week's Game Pass exodus that happened. What are your thoughts on this, Richie? You've always been an advocate, and I think me alongside you, of thinking Xbox will get out of the hardware market probably sooner rather than later when it comes to the big three.
Yeah, one day. I just think the uptake in people using Xbox Cloud Gaming, back in the Google Stadia days when Stadia came out and GeForce Now was coming out and Luna was around the corner, Xbox were going hard with cloud gaming, PlayStation were pulling out the nails out the coffin of PlayStation Now. It felt like cloud gaming was primed to really make inroads.
Yeah, 5 years ago.
5 years ago. I don't think went the way we expected. Stadia's gone. Luna's been reconfigured. Relaunched. GeForce Now's taken over fine. Yeah. Xbox cloud gaming's taken over fine, but quietly, and it's now they're pushing it into the lower tiers of Game Pass as well. It's just recently come out, I think, out of beta, but it's not the huge monumental thing that it might look like it was going to be 5 years.
It was always a supplement for us, right? It was like, it's there if you want it, but we would always opt for native as a preference.
And that's how it still very much feels with Xbox's recent partnership with ROG Ally. Shows that that was an opportunity to double down on cloud gaming, which they chose not to take.
Yep, they opted for bigger internals and bigger price point.
They could have went for the two system tier, but have the ROG Ally X and a cloud streamer. But they've doubled that. They went the other way with it. So it feels like Xbox cloud gaming is still just a supplement. So I do feel like there is at least one more full Xbox hardware generation, where I actually wouldn't be surprised if for both Sony and Xbox they launch the next hardware as here's your full fat console, the best hardware on the market, and here's your lower entry price point that is either digital only or is a cloud streamer.
I mean, the Project Keystone, right, that we saw sat on Phil's shelf, seemingly pushed back or discontinued.
I feel that was discontinued down to partnerships with things like LG and getting Game Pass natively on TVs.
Samsung smart TVs and Hisense and everything. Yeah, so, I think it just goes back to that point where they did it with the Series S. The Series S is all digital. So that was kind of the first step, is like, right, let's convince all of our gamers that you don't need a disc, you don't need a physical thing. And we know the Series S is the biggest seller of the two types of series design. Then condition them with Game Pass. Get all your games on a subscription. You don't need to buy individual ones. They're just part of your package. Just stick with Game Pass. Then turn the screw on Game Pass prices. So we're making more money per user on Game Pass. I think at last count they had like 34 mil users on Game Pass, maybe. I'm sure a lot left last month.
Yeah,
I'm sure a lot less
probably down to like
will
6
jump,
or something.
I'll jump ship, and then I'm sure lots will come crawling back as soon as a big game comes out, as all gamers like to do. We spit our dummies out, whatever, but ultimately when Call of Duty comes out next month, you're going to go buy Game Pass, you're going to go pay 80 quid for it. Well, we shall see, I'm sure. But they don't top out numbers, so we can only speculate. And it's weird because I think we're so beholden to consoles, and I think you and me again, and probably a lot of our audience are just not stuck in our ways, but it's all we've ever known. And I think it's hard for me to visualize a day when I go into a shop, or not even go into a shop, buy it online, and buy a console that is purely powered by the internet. And I think we come from a generation now, and it makes us sound and feel really old, but it's like, I don't trust just the internet. Like you and me, some of the biggest advocates of cloud gaming out there, guarantee it. But would you commit to an all-cloud console for your house, for your living room?
Internet service providers in the UK suck. The hardware you provide you is terrible. You definitely do not get the speeds you're meant to be. My girlfriend was trying to watch TV while I was playing on the port before, and we're having problems. Mm-hmm. I was sat in the same room as the router. That's the kind of shit you have to deal with as cloud gamers, which puts people off.
It's not good enough, is it?
Yeah. Well, I think Xbox and Sony can have the cake and eat it a bit. Xbox especially, because with a cloud stream for Xbox, they can keep the cost of the hardware of a handheld down. Full Game Pass library on there. It's cloud streaming, so that you don't need an expensive hardware in the handheld to run it, and then you sell an Xbox, which is the best console on the market. So then you get people more conditioned into cloud gaming, because we see how much people love the handheld things like the Steam Decks and stuff. So if you brought in a cloud streamer that was, say, dockable, and then I think at a lower price point as a replacement for the Series S, suddenly I think you have a better situation, where the problem for the Series S is it isn't significantly much better than Xbox One X, and that has probably held Xbox back a bit this generation.
Yeah, a lot of it for me comes just down to optics, and it's like they bombed out so hard with the Xbox One generation, and seemingly Phil admitted it himself of just, we lost the digital generation.
Yeah.
And I genuinely think no matter what they do, the mind's eye now is
to win
PlayStation and Nintendo. Yeah, that's pretty much the last kind of battlefield.
Yeah, Game Pass though, you can play Battlefield or you can play Call of Duty on this handheld thing wherever you are in the world, as long as you have a stable internet connection.
Yeah,
you do not need no installs. You talk about all the benefits of cloud gaming without saying the word cloud gaming.
Yeah, and this goes back to, I think, our kind of tried and tested conversation we've had many times with Stadia, with Amazon, with Xbox Cloud Game, with Nvidia, is that our generation isn't the one that matters, because you've got millions upon millions of children, teenagers, soon to be adults, who all their version of gaming has ever been is touchscreen on their phone, and they can more than happily play games like Fortnite and stuff with their fingertips on a touchscreen. Doesn't work for me, no way in hell. But that generation coming through, the future consumers, the future spenders of that business, if all they've ever known is ease of access, cheap subscription fees, and everything on an absolute silver platter on the mass them, then Game Pass and cloud,
and loot boxes,
Game Pass,
so they don't react to it the same way we do.
Doesn't phase them. Yeah. So Game Pass, cloud gaming, playing on any device, or this is an Xbox that you already own, or you already have in your house, your living room, your bedroom, whatever. It seems like such a hard pill to swallow, I think, for current gamers, older gamers, mature gamers, or even in fact the industry and the journalists that cover it as a whole, because it's their bread and butter. But the reality is, and Microsoft, trust me, Microsoft have the money to see this out. They're like the second richest company in the world with a capital of like $4 trillion or something. They can see this out until that generation of consumers are the mainstay. They are the 25 to 35s who are spending money.
The issue is, a few years ago, Microsoft were buying pretty much every available company under the sun, And I think the return on investment for that investment, including like things like Activision Blizzard,
Yep.
has been largely inconsequential. Yeah, it's been shit. It probably hasn't been good enough. But this is where I feel like you don't buy an Activision Blizzard and put Call of Duty on Game Pass to panic after one release reportedly costing you 300 million. It's like, that was obviously going to happen. It just is. That was always going to happen. Because you're replacing, like, why would, if I'm an Xbox fan, why would I buy Call of Duty, a digital version of Call of Duty, when I could just get it on Game Pass, which Microsoft have been conditioning me for years to get Game Pass.
Yeah.
PlayStation gamers still going to buy the box copy. But I bet you most people who play Call of Duty on Xbox are playing on Game Pass.
Yeah.
So don't panic over the numbers.
Yeah. You got to see it through. But then this is where big corporations and leadership stuff, like, they change. Like, decisions change, shareholders change their mind, and whoever made the decision to buy Activision Blizzard King, they might not be here in 5 years' time to suffer the consequences of the fallout of that. Phil Spencer is. Matt Booty, Sarah Bond, like, they might not be here by the launch of next generation.
Good leadership is managing up and down. Sometimes you have to manage people up and go, no, we knew this was going to cost us a lot of money in one go, but we did this because it's going to drive people to Xbox Game Pass, and we're playing a long game here, because one day people will be not putting a box under the telly, it'll be all cloud gaming, and people will be conditioned to use Game Pass because we are going to be the best cloud gaming in there. Yeah.
And let's face it, the amount of publishers they've got, they are the biggest publisher in the world this year. On PlayStation, on Xbox, on PC, because they own nearly most of them now. So it's that, it seems bad. I get it. If you're a diehard Xbox fan, you've always had an Xbox, it would sting. I think we benefit from that, of being more PlayStation, Nintendo inclined, is that we look at this and go like, we both appreciate Xbox as much as done, but we don't have that nostalgia, that we didn't grow up with it. We grew up around it, we had friends who had it, but it was never our ecosystem of choice. So seeing it kind of become diminished and changed and kind of stripped away, absolutely it sucks. From a consumer standpoint, it sucks that there's going to be maybe less competition in the market, but I don't think they're going anywhere. I think you're right, we will get another Xbox, and I think Xbox will always exist. It's just evolving differently than the other two traditional ones are.
Yeah, I think because gaming is evolving differently, and PlayStation have decided to double down on the discrete generation consoles. But there again, PlayStation have shit the bed this generation with the pivot to live service and pivot back. So that's them trying to find a place in the next era of gaming. Xbox are doing it differently. Nintendo have just doubled down on the Switch, and it's seemingly working well for them. But will that work into a next generation?
Yeah, but that's it's again, we don't want to compare all business structure models, but like Nintendo do what Nintendo do, they're great at it, but they do have significantly less profit margins because they don't support the big third-party stuff. Like PlayStation, Xbox gets a shed ton of money from the likes of Call of Duty and third-party support and stuff that Nintendo just don't get. Yes, Nintendo make huge markups on their first-party products. The pack-in, the box per unit sales are huge, but they don't make that Call of Duty money. They don't make that Fortnite money as much. So, but then it's different audiences, isn't it? You can have a successful business without being big. Like, again, ironically enough, isn't Xbox Series consoles, they've still sold more units than they did 360 and One. They're just in third place, so it looks bad.
Yeah.
Didn't Microsoft Gaming make more profit last year than ever before?
Like, investors want to see improvement,
growth
and
every year.
Improvement is relative.
Yeah.
And Xbox doesn't exist in a vacuum inside Microsoft either. Microsoft have other projects that are spending a lot of money and seeing return on investment.
Yeah.
Nintendo don't have that.
No.
Sony kind of do, but PlayStation is such a strong brand, it kind of looks after itself. So Sony probably doesn't interfere that much with PlayStation.
Well, Sony's like a tiny company in comparison. I think Sony's like entire revenue stream up and down across the board, including the movie and TV division and stuff, isn't even comparable on a scale of what Microsoft is. So you're completely right. Is Sony, PlayStation's arm of Sony is Sony's most profitable arm, whereas Microsoft's Xbox isn't. Yeah. Xbox isn't the big dog in their classroom. It's the lesser one that it spends a lot of money. It has a lot of an audience, but it doesn't make the corporate massive Microsoft funds that being in like, let's face it, Microsoft is probably interwoven into every single business on the planet at this point in the Western Hemisphere.
But you know what? I think
it's just
you
wild.
know what will get Microsoft back? Just bring out some bloody good damn games consistently.
And you could argue they have been more of a stronger cadence now than they ever have been. If you think this year we've got South of Midnight, Oblivion remake, you've got Outer Worlds 2 about to drop, you've got Call of Duty incoming. What else have we got? Gears of War remaster, Reloaded came out as well. So they've had arguably a stronger year than any year prior. And then we've got seemingly Doom as well. We got Doom: The Dark Ages. Indiana Jones, I guess, was back end of last year, but went multi-platform this year. Forza selling incredibly well on PlayStation 5. So like they are delivering on the games front. As you said, it just seemingly is the rest of the business and messaging and marketing. Like the optics aren't great, but
the needle's slow to move. But it can move massively between generations. The next generation...
It's a reset point.
Yeah, the next generation, people are looking, okay, we're talking to their friends about what console we're going to get next time round. We got the PlayStation this time, but that Game Pass model looks fantastic. We're always playing Call of Duty. Do we go Team Green this time round?
But that's where I think there's still that digital library problem, isn't it? Where everyone's like, but I've got my digital library. But that's where Game Pass should alleviate that.
But I think nowadays you're not abandoning your digital library because of things like backwards compatibility being more and more a thing that Xbox can say they've always had. So they can push that. You can push things like Play Anywhere. You can, like crossplay. So you don't, by buying an Xbox Next over a PlayStation 6, you're not abandoning your digital library in PS5.
Yeah.
You can keep that.
Wild.
Yeah.
Do you think people will be abandoning Call of Duty for Battlefield 6 this year, though, Richie?
No, but I think a lot of people are buying Battlefield 6 because the reviews are in. And at the time of recording, on PS5, it's currently sitting at a Metacritic of 84.
That's good.
It is.
Really good.
Where do you want to go with this? Because I was actually reading a review earlier. Can't remember who it was from, actually. It was Eurogamer, I think. That was saying, forgive me if I'm wrong there, that they wouldn't recommend it if you're only interested in the campaign.
Yeah, I've heard the campaign's like 5 to 6 hours tops, and I said it's passable. And it's enjoyable in part, it's bombastic in part, but it's not what you should be there for, really.
Yeah.
So it is what it is. I think we kind of suspected that as much. But in terms of actual plays, the game servers over the launch the last 2 days, absolutely chock-a-block full. People have been posting online. The latest one I saw was Battlefield 6. It says game servers full, current queue position 472,800. The game servers are currently at max capacity. You have been placed in a queue. This person's queue position is at nearly 500,000. So that's not people playing the game. That's their position in the queue to get onto the servers. Which means that if we flip it over to Steam, in terms of game sales, the game is already closing in on 1 million concurrent players on Steam.
It's had estimated over $100 million in sales pre-launch. So before the game comes out, $100 million were already heading a year's way. And if EA are underestimating the amount of server capacity they need for this game, that is a good sign for the game.
Yeah.
Like
huge sign for the game. Current Steam DB numbers, its all-time peak was 4 hours ago, so tonight. no surprise, heading into the weekend. That's surely only going to pick up over the weekend, right? Saturday, seemingly would be like prime time. 747,440. So yeah, I reckon it could get right up there. But it just shows you off the back of what we just said about Xbox, optics and marketing are huge. Everybody hated Battlefield 2042. Take a couple of years, go silent, chip away at it, come out with a new trailer, new approach, new tactics, seemingly get the community on side by listening to them, working with them, delivering a grounded, realistic, not a cheap pink Fortnite skin coded whatever with bells and whistles, literally. In it, I mean, seemingly it's already... EA will be chuffed with that. Absolutely chuffed.
I think it's one of the most annoying things in the world, probably, for, like, EA, where it's like, oh, crap, our servers are down. It's like, why are servers down? Too many people want to play our games. Like, oh, fantastic.
Yeah.
Overtime for everyone, lads. Let's get this sorted.
Yeah. To give a good few reviews, then PlayStation Lifestyle give it a 9 out of 10. They said Battlefield 6 is one of PlayStation 5's best shooters, featuring a replayable and rewarding campaign, plus some of the most satisfying multiplayer that players have ever come to expect. This is the full package. This is a game I can't wait to continue playing for years, and I can't wait to see how it evolves and how the Portal helps mold the future of the series. I don't know what the Portal is. Is it like something in-game, perhaps? Because I don't think he's referring to the PlayStation Portal for that in particular, but interesting one there with it. IGN Italia said Battlefield 6 is the comeback that fans of the series were waiting for. A campaign that's a little more than adequate, but a thrilling, tactical and spectacular multiplayer experience is fantastic.
So the Battlefield Portal is a community-driven platform in the Battlefield series, first introduced in Battlefield 2042, that allows players to create, share and find custom game modes and experiences.
Right.
So it sounds like it's going back to the old school way of how PC games used to handle, like multiplayer games, where you could join a server that had specific criteria set up, like, oh, we're only going to play capture the flag.
One-shot kill.
Yeah, stuff like that, rather than the auto drop you in, whatever the game decides to drop you in. That crept in over time. It feels like it might be a half step back towards giving players a bit more control over, like, just some as simple as the library and stuff like that can actually make it easier for people to find private games, because then you can just filter by the name of the server. You can potentially password server. This is without digging too much into the Battlefield Portal, but you could potentially password the server. So I could host a server. You got Richie's server. There you go. The password is GamerGuild123, and you're in.
Nice, cool.
Which
I like it.
But then that theoretically could mean that makes it easier for people, like content creators who playing Battlefield regularly, to work with to interact with their own communities.
Interesting. Dextero give it an 8 out of 10. They said, after years spent circling the drain, Battlefield 6 gets the series back on track. The mission statement was clear as EA delivers classic, class-based multiplayer, a thrilling yet brief single-player campaign, and a creative toolset bound to drive countless hours of fun in the community-made experiences. Probably referencing Portal there. They finally remembered how to make a proper Battlefield. So yeah, seemingly all is good in the world of Battlefield.
Yeah, it's
good
universally
sales.
It's pretty much universally positive. User reviews are not in at the time of recording, but on PlayStation, only 3 mixed reviews and 47 positive. So
interesting.
It's very, very strong. Which it's nice to see. It's nice to see games make a comeback. I think the one wrinkle is, if you're a single-player gamer, it's probably not for you, because it's probably not worth the cost for the length of story. But inevitably, that price will come down. And I think the way to look at it is probably this is a multiplayer game with a single-player story tagged on, which you can effectively, as a tutorial, get your hands on the sticks before you go live. Yeah.
It's going to be an interesting... Battlefield for the two of them, because we've still got a month until Call of Duty Black Ops 7 comes out.
That's going to be interesting.
These are the two titans that in years gone by they've always came out within a few weeks of each other. War shooters, bro shooters, whatever you want to call it. Always pushing graphic fidelity and bombastic stories and stuff.
If you go on
mass online multiplayer.
If they're going head to head, Call of Duty is going to win overall. I don't think even the most optimistic analysts at EA would say otherwise. And we know it. I think it's perfectly reasonable to assume that the concurrent player base is going to take a dent when the month Call of Duty comes out.
Yeah.
How much it recovers is going to be telling. Does it lose 10% of its players after it's kind of had come out that trough? Does it lose 20%, 50%? I think that's going to be the tell, because it's going to take a big dent as soon as Call of Duty comes out. Yeah,
absolutely. Like, how many jump to Black Ops 7 and how many come back? That's the question. Are they happy to take the Battlefield pill while they wait out 4 weeks for Black Ops?
Yeah.
Or will they go, you know what? Battlefield was actually better. I'm going to go back. Yeah, it's going to be an interesting layout over the next, I guess, the final quarter of the year. But yeah, as you alluded to, I'm just happy to see Call of Duty have some competition. This is the first year we've had back-to-back progressive story from Call of Duty, like Black Ops 6 straight into Black Ops 7 has never happened before since the Modern Warfare days on the OG PS3 360s. So they're doing something different. Battlefield doing something different.
I know I'm not a Call of Duty player, but I think one of the best things you could do for kind of reinvigorating Call of Duty's reputation is take a few years off. Without bringing it, you still have Warzone. You still got Warzone that you can bring out content for, so it's not like you're going away entirely. And Black Ops 7, you still going to could support that for 2 years.
Yeah,
just take that breather and then come back with something that doesn't feel from the outside exactly like every other Call of Duty I've played over the last 10 years.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
So it's definitely going to give Little Nightmares to the Treyarch and EA devs.
Little Nightmares is actually one of the most wish-listed games on Steam, but we do have reviews for it, Chris.
Yeah, came out today, 10th of October.
It came out today, and it's currently sitting at a 72 on Metacritic.
Which, I think in the scheme of the type of game it is, that's what I'd expect. 7 out of 10.
I don't know, because I feel you have to review a game in context of what the game is. So I would lean that as a bit lower than I'd expect, especially considering the quality of the previous two.
Different devs this time around, though, right?
Yeah.
This isn't Tarsier Studios. So this is, because this has had like that. This is the one where, right, is it Bandai Namco who owned the rights to it? So Bandai Namco own it. Yeah, Tarsier made the original 2, if I'm referencing that right. This one was Supermassive. So this is the first one made by the people who did Until Dawn and the Dark Pictures anthology.
Yeah.
So yeah, in 2021, Tarsier Studios confirmed that Little Nightmares 2 would be its last entry, as they were acquired by the Embracer Group. So Embracer took over the studio as part of all that Embracer buyout. Bandai Namco had the IP. They were like, no. We're going to keep this going, even if we don't own Tarsier, or we don't work in partnership with Tarsier Studios. 2023, Little Nightmares 3 was unveiled at Comic-Con opening night live, but unlike its predecessor, this one is developed by Supermassive. So, obviously, I guess one of the kings of horror that we've came to love and know through Until Dawn and the Dark Pictures anthology. But yeah, I'll read from Game Informer. They gave it a 7.5. They said, Little Nightmares 3 delivers on the original conceit of the series with a horror-filled adventure that feels like trying to escape a nightmare you desperately want to wake up from. Outside of a few noticeable, if underbaked additions, Supermassive has introduced, I'd welcome more variation to the game's formula. However, even if Little Nightmares 3 offers more of the same, it's hard not to smile whenever Low and Alone's adventure sends chills down my spine. So, again, the big difference for this one, Richie, is online co-op. So 2 people can play through this story together. We've had obviously multiple characters in the past, but it's always been a case of you as the main character helping an unfortunate eye character navigate a puzzle world, very heavily influenced by Tim Burton-esque horror. And I think more of the same is what I think when I said a 7 out of 10 seems normal. I think that's because as far as Little Nightmares 3 goes, I was just expecting more of the same. I wasn't expecting story. I wasn't suddenly expecting voice acting. I wasn't expecting like a drastic twist. I just thought more Little Nightmares, and that's all I wanted.
Yeah. So kind of both GameSpot and Push Square kind of hint at the same thing. So I'll read both of except from both theirs. So from GameSpot first, who'll give it a 70. Little Nightmares 3 is faithful to the series under its new leading studio at Supermassive Games. The team, already well-respected name in horror, causes Tarsier's Torchwell, carries Tarsier's Torchwell, though it sometimes feels feels too differential to the past games, failing to raise the bar in both puzzle and monster design. This is a good sequel I'm glad to have made the time for, but if there's to be another trip in this world of tiny terrors, it first needs a refill of nightmare fuel.
So more of the same.
Yeah, Push Square, Little Nightmares 3 is a nightmare worth having, even if you've dreamt it all before. Supermassive Games holds a mirror to the franchise, reflecting the series' charming horror, clever puzzles and grotesque universe, but it plays it safe, adding little in the way of originality. Online co-op is the biggest change, but solo play remains the preferred experience. Overall, Little Nightmares 3 is unsettling enough to make your skin crawl, just not enough to wake you up. So it feels like the general theme here is good game, maybe played it a little too safe.
Yeah, good game, more of the same.
Yeah.
But you know what? Knowing that it's Supermassive and it's their first crack at the whip, being given a new IP that's got an established fan base, it probably is a safe bet to do more of the same.
Do you feel
all
like
honesty,
they attempt to do something different and unique was the online co-op, and it just hasn't landed with the reviewers?
For all we know, Bandai Namco went to Supermassive, went, look, we've got a contract for Little Nightmares 3. Would you like to do it? You're already familiar with horror. We need someone to do it. And they went, yeah, okay. And for all we know, Bandai Namco said, just do more of the same.
Yeah.
Like, as the publisher and the IP owner, they could have said, for this contract, we just want you to make a new entry that follows the same route. And that's probably what they've done. And if they differentiated too much, they would have come under criticism for saying, oh, you've handed it to someone new and they've tried to change it too much and they've done this and that. So
it might be a damned if you do, damned if you don't kind of thing.
Exactly,
where it's like, just play it safe for this first entry that you're handling, and then you can be creative in the next one. Yeah.
I think the next one won't be a numbered entry, because I could see us having another one. It's one of them where it's like Halloween comes around every year. I can see us getting a Little Nightmares.
It's very rare you get a number 4 in the games. 1 doesn't usually have a number. Unless you're, was it Mortal Kombat?
Unless it's like a reboot. Yeah.
And then you quite often get a 2. Sometimes you get a 3. You very rarely get a 4 in any franchise.
Yeah, the optics of it.
Yeah.
But I'm happy too. I think we've discussed we may play it for like a Halloween stream this year, because we've actually got 2 full playthroughs up on it. I wore an anorak for the Stadia playthrough, if you remember. That I actually purchased a yellow anorak to wear on stream. We've played them to full, so we usually do like something spooky for Halloween. So if you'd like to see us play Little Nightmares, and we can do a co-op, which will be actually quite beneficial for us, Richie, that both of us can be on the sticks and one of us doesn't just have to watch for a change. And it does come with Friend Pass as well, so we only need to buy 1 copy.
Ah, cool.
To then share, just like we did with Lego Voyages at the weekend. So yeah good for Little Nightmares. I like that series.
Yeah, a few quick stories to round things up. So Red Dead Redemption 2 is still coming to PS5. I'm guessing this is an improved PS5 version, because you can play it on PS5. Just put your PS4 disc in.
Yeah, it's a port. Nate the Hate says, yeah, it exists. No update for timing on release. So I could see this as Rockstar just putting this out maybe March next year. Get some money in ahead of GTA launch.
Maybe they're just holding off until after GTA. I don't know.
Maybe.
It might just be when it's ready, we'll get a go. But unless we have hit the targets we're looking at, because if you're going to do a PS5 improvement, you want a significant improvement. Otherwise, what's the point?
Yeah, I mean, it'll still sell well anyway because it's Red Dead Redemption.
Yeah, but if it comes out and it isn't that much of an improvement to the PS4 version, which was absolutely stunning, it's like, where are we seeing the improvements?
Yeah, absolutely.
It needs to be a tangible improvement, because you're going to get these PS4 versus PS5 comparisons, and you don't want people going playing spot the difference. You want the difference to stand out. Make the horse testicles even more detailed than they were before. Better swing and better physics engine for the swing as the horse walks through the wilderness.
I want them to get colder, smaller in the cold. And
when you go through cold environments, they subtly go up.
And the horse's voice
sag more in the sun.
Yeah.
Yeah. Silent Hill is going multi-platform. Silent Hill 2 is going multi-platform just in time for Halloween. So, to be honest, I didn't realise it wasn't.
No, it was a PlayStation exclusive, which I'd forgot as well.
Yeah.
But yeah, the Silent Hill 2 remake sold really well. Plaudits, received loads of good reviews. Its 1 year PlayStation exclusivity is up, so it's coming to Xbox. There's rumours to be a Switch 2 port in the cards, alongside a Bloober team are also working on a Layers of Fear Switch 2 port as well. So they're quite active. They've not turned down the option to do a Chronos: The New Dawn port either. So yeah, Bloober team getting their teeth stuck in at the moment. But
I feel these are the stories are kind of like, this is where the improvement you see from the generation between the Switch 1 and 2 is not necessarily in Nintendo's offerings, which you will see a bit.
Yeah.
But a generation ago on the original Switch, you are not getting Silent Hill 2 remake on there.
No, not at all.
By the end of the Switch 2 generation, stories like this are given.
Third-party support's going to be a lot bigger. But yeah, it's coming. And we've not really got it in the show notes, but the rumour is PlayStation Plus's games for October. Silent Hill 2 is one of them that's leaked.
Oh,
This is from Tuesday. So
this
last year's Silent Hill 2 remake will headline the PlayStation
editions.
Plus lineup for October, yeah. According to reliable leaker Bill Coon.
I don't think I've claimed my monthly games yet.
I don't think I have either. I've been playing Tsushima too much.
Yeah.
But yeah, so got 9 out of 10s on release. So that could be another spooky stream for some point leading up to Halloween. We've got some horror material in the bank.
Some sad news next for our friends over in America, because the PlayStation concert that me and you both went to has been cancelled.
Yeah.
So I think earlier in the year we had issues in Europe. Now they're having issues in America, and all of the remaining 2025 dates for the US have been cancelled.
Dun, dun, dun. Such a shame. Like the one we went to be fair, wasn't a full house.
It wasn't. It's got a bit of criticism as well for some of the performance. While the production is amazing,
yeah,
some of the instrumentation is piped in. So, which when you go to a live gig, you kind of want to see the band play, not a backing track. So I think it's got a bit of criticism for that, but ultimately I think it's just down to it's a niche that wasn't as strong as the PlayStation 4 was going to be.
Yeah, I agree. But it's a shame.
Yeah. And final story for the week. You're getting a potentially Minecraft sequel for the movie.
Oh, you 100% are.
Yeah, it's confirmed for 2027.
It made $1 billion or over $1 billion, which is mad to think how that movie looked. As someone who I enjoy Minecraft, but I'm not I wouldn't say I'm a Minecraft avid. I haven't played it for many, many years.
I think we both called this, where there's a lot of stuff about the movie we just kind of rolled our eyes at, but turned around and went, yeah, but it's going to sell $1 billion. It's going to make $1 billion. Yeah, because the kids are going to love it.
Yeah, and it's that thing where it got that zeitgeist. If you remember, like the whole chicken jockey thing and the lava chicken, like it is a thing, and it's if you get a viral trend, you'll make money. Yeah. Just look at that idiot guy from Ibiza Final Boss or something.
I feel like they've knocked this one out the park, where they knew the audience, catered directly to it, and made $1 billion. So fair play to them.
So it'll get bigger, it'll get more bombastic. Jack Black will be back, and Building Terrain, see you in theaters, July 2027. Which, interestingly enough, not that they should really compete, but it actually comes up with this week's news that there's going to be a second Simpson movie. I don't know if you saw that one, Richie.
I did.
Simpsons movie 2. It comes out the same week, in fact. So Minecraft and Simpsons going head to head in 2027. Who'd have thought the day would have arrived?
I actually watched the Simpsons movie a few months ago.
Still holds up?
Still holds up. Yeah, it was fun.
Yeah, it's actually wild to think it's took so long, but building up to the Simpsons movie, you know what they should do? They should get a re-release, a remaster of Hit and Run or Road Rage out. Yeah.
There needs to be more Simpsons games. I feel like The Simpsons is at a low point in its franchise history where there's little interest, not as much interest as there was. Yeah. This could be just us getting older, though.
It probably is. It still gets renewed every year, so no surprise. Yeah. One thing I was thinking of this week that I actually tweeted about it, I think, is why, we've never had a Family Guy movie at the cinemas. Never had American Dad, Bob's Burgers, anything. Like, they have movies, but not like cinema releases. Why have Family Guy not done the Star Wars prequels yet? Because some of the best Family Guy content for us as teenagers was that Star Wars trilogy, the Blue Harvest and such, something Dark Side. How have they not gone and made fun of the prequels yet? There's 3 movies sat there with Jar Jar and droids and politics to make jokes of in a typical Seth MacFarlane style, and it hasn't happened. Seems ripe for the picking.
Maybe they just haven't had the script that they're happy with, so maybe because with the original Star Wars trilogy, they are so beloved from across multiple generations. It's a passion project. Where I think the prequels, I feel like they are now, fondly, and actually people I think more and more are looking on them fondly, but nowhere near to the same standard as the original Star Wars trilogy.
Oh no!
So it might be I definitely feel like that.
I think they're getting to that point though. Like Phantom Menace was 99, so it's 26-year-old now.
I feel like they'd have to spoof it in a way that kind of bigs up the prequels, rather than shitting on a bit. So maybe it just doesn't really quite work. But anyway,
that funny is all the same.
Yeah. Indeed, but that is all we have time for this week. And we like to round up every show with This Week in Video Game History. So starting October the 10th, Chris, we have the fucking banger. Right out the gate. Pac-Man in the arcade, 45 years ago.
1980.
That's gaming legacy right there.
Oh, Pac-Man Pac-Man should be an emoji. That's how credible he is for video games.
Why isn't Pac-Man an emoji?
Space Invader is. Right?
Google.
You've got Space Invader, a joystick, and a controller. A really bad controller emoji.
Yeah. Google. Sort it out.
Everyone sort it out. There's like an emoji council between Apple and Google and Samsung and Huawei who do this. So, yeah. We need more emojis. It's wild to think we don't have some... Certain animals don't even have emojis yet. But aside from that, we also got Spyro Year of the Dragon, which was the 3rd entry in the series 25 years ago in the year 2000 on the 10 of the millennium.
Yeah, we
Spyro. We
Portal
also got...
on PC.
Yeah.
18 years ago.
18 years since Portal. Half-Life 2 Episode 2.
Yeah.
In 2007.
Team Fortress 2 ago. As well, and another Valve game, which Valve loved making games up to the 2nd iteration, promised and fared, then never actually coming through with it. But they make so much money on your Steam, it'd be stupid to do anything other.
Absolutely. October 11th, we got Jet Force Gemini in 1999, which I know is a big N64 game for those fans out there. Never played it.
Yeah. Moving on to October 11th, Mortal Kombat Trilogy on the PlayStation.
Nice.
Yeah.
Wolf Among Us. 12 years ago. 12 years. Still not heard a peep about Wolf Among Us 2, have we? In many years now. Even though it's in the work at whatever Telltale's reboot is.
Metaphor ReFantasio a year ago.
Yeah.
Bravely Default.
100-hour journey.
Bravely Default in Japan came out 13 years ago on the 3DS. Brilliant game.
Wow.
They're making a remake of Bravely Default, aren't they?
They are, yeah. And then last one for you, Richie. 12 years ago in 2013, Pokemon X and Y came out on the 3DS.
Oh, I love X and Y. X and Y is what got me back into Pokemon on the 3DS. Because I didn't have an original DS and I didn't have a Game Boy Advance. So while I did play some of the games, I remember in uni I borrowed one of my mates' DS and played Pokemon Diamond. So, and then I've played all sorts of emulators, but...
Did you go with Chespin, Fennec, or Froakie? Fennekin, sorry.
I've had playthroughs with all 3 of them.
I feel like Froakie would have been my choice.
Froakie's
I liked him
cool.
from the TV show.
Yeah, Froakie's cool.
Yeah.
Greninja is so cool, he made his way into Smash Bros.
Yeah. He's in the Detective Pikachu movie.
Yeah, he's Charizard level of cool.
Greninja.
He's going to be in Pokemon X and Y as well. And ZA.
Interesting stuff.
So ZA is set in the same area as X and Y.
Right. Interesting.
Yeah.
I wonder if we'll ever get an X and Y... I don't want to say Let's Go remake, but like the remake we got for like Diamond and Pearl and Interstitial. Because this is where I'm playing catch up with the series so far detached, because I played the Let's Go games and then I played Pearl and Diamond and really enjoyed it.
If they're keeping up with the remake cadence, so they've done the originals, they've done Gold and Silver, they've done Alpha Ruby Sapphire. They've done Diamond Pearl. Next up is Black and White, and then it would be X and Y. So it wouldn't be up next, but the one after.
So is it weird that they did, like, again, Let's Go, for all intents and purposes, even though it was a weaker version, was red, blue, and yellow and green all tied into one?
Yeah.
We haven't had a gold and silver, have we?
Yeah, we have. Hard gold, soul silver on the DS.
No, like in like Switch era. Like
no, not Switch era. It was in DS era. That's when the remake happened.
So how come they skipped gold and silver, ruby and sapphire and did diamond and pearl?
They didn't. They're on the 3DS.
No, the Switch one, I played it. It was shining pearl and something diamond.
But the Ruby Sapphire is on the 3DS, the remakes. Alpha Sapphire and Omega Ruby.
What are they? Oh, I'm confused timeline-wise now.
Yeah,
There's so many Pokemon games.
With Pokemon, some of the remakes are actually very old. So if you think about the original Pokemon games, they got remade on the Game Boy Advance.
Right.
So that's like many generations of hardware ago.
Yeah, I'm looking at timeline-wise in my head, so that we had red, green, blue and yellow on the original Game Boy. Then we had gold and silver and crystal on the Game Boy DS.
On the Game Boy... No, they were still on the Game Boy...
Game Boy Advance.
No, they were still on the Game Boy.
Were they? I never had that one.
Gold and silver were on the original Game Boy. Well...
Wow,
maybe Game Boy Color. I don't think Game Boy Color was necessary though, off the top of my head.
So Ruby and Sapphire,
they were Game Boy Advance,
right.
But the remake of the originals, Fire Red, Leaf Green,
were also
Game Boy Advance.
On the Advance. Yeah,
so that's how long ago we're talking about Pokemon remake and stuff.
Then Diamond and Pearl.
Diamond and Pearl were on the DS.
DS.
Yeah.
Right. And we've had that remake on the Switch.
Yeah. We had Black and White on the DS as well.
Yeah.
Then
Black and White 2?
Yeah.
Black and White 2?
Then Black and White 2 is kind of like Pokemon Yellow for the Black and White generation.
Oh, okay, all right. So right. Then X and Y then.
Then there was... X and Y was the first ones in the 3DS. Then they had Sun and Moon.
I bought Sun on my...
Terrible. Nowhere near as good.
I bought a 3DS because I got the Pokemon itch, so I went and bought a 3DS with a Pokemon plate on the back, purely for playing Pokemon Yellow again. When they did the digital release of Pokemon Yellow, I think, on the Nintendo eStore. And then I got Pokemon Sun as well, and I was like, not really vibing with me. And then the Switch came out, which is when we got Sword and Shield and Let's Go. And everything like that.
So I think there was Let's Go first, Sword and Shield, and then
Scarlet
Violet,
yeah, which was a disappointment for me.
Yeah, and obviously Legends, which is a side game. Arceus, Legends ZA coming out, and Shining Diamond, Brilliant Pearl.
So next year, in theory, should be the next mainline entry. New generation, new list.
Yeah, well...
everything like that.
Yeah, I feel like before they were doing alternating between main game, remake. But now I feel like they're putting main game, side game, remake, so that with the Legends franchise actually taking off quite well.
Now, the reason I say that as well, now I'm thinking about this out loud, this special edition end to our show.
Yeah.
The
Pokemon section of the show.
Yeah. 2026 will be not only the 10th generation, which I feel like 10 is quite a good milestone.
Yeah.
It'll also be, if it came in 96, that means 2026 is going to be a big anniversary. 30 years of Pokemon?
Yeah, I'm not going to get my hopes up because Nintendo usually crap at big anniversaries.
They are, yeah.
There was lots of rumours for Zelda having a big anniversary a few years ago and nothing really came off it. So I think to celebrate the 20th anniversary of Pokemon, 30th anniversary of Pokemon, I think you will just get the next series games.
Right.
Maybe some other side content, Pokemon Sleep 2 or something.
The sequel to Sleep.
Yeah.
I feel like I could do with a sequel to Sleep some days, you know.
Yeah, me too.
Like, what comes after sleep? More sleep.
What comes after sleep?
Sleep.
I don't know, but you can let us know in the comments because that's all we have time for. If you like the video, make sure you hit like, subscribe to the channel so you can hear more random Pokemon content at the end of your very long podcast. Ring the bell so you get in the loop of when that comes out. My name's been Richie.
I've been Chris.
GG everyone. Goodbye.
Bye.